Fairview's coffee has mysteriously gone missing. Mayhem ensues when strange, coffee-craving zombies plague the city. Detective Mickey Potatoes, an overworked public servant, uncovers why ordinary citizens are losing their minds and how to stop the coffee apocalypse. But it involves the mafia. And when you're dealing with mafia crime families, nothing is ever easy. The mafia controls everything in the city, including the police, including him. If he breaks the mafia, they will break him. So, the city is without coffee. The city is burning before his very eyes, but he's powerless. Detective Potatoes has the power to stop the coffee apocalypse, but if he does, he could lose everything.
The Immortal Mask, a 1970s superhero crime noir adventure that follows a retired soldier who is given a covenant interview with a death row inmate. What he learns from the interview thrusts him into Atlanta's shadowy underworld. He'll have to utilize his military training to survive from being hunted for the information that could topple the most powerful ruling class in the city. This is not a pre-order or a crowdfunding campaign. Get your books now at Nunneley.com.
Hey, yo, it's me, Pops Fan Marmalade, and you're watching the Comics-Related Madness Network. Huh? So come get some. CromCon! CromCon!
Our brethren are already in the field. Why stand we here idle? What is it the gentlemen wish? What would they have? Is life so dear, or peace so sweet? Has to be purchased at the price of chains and slavery? Forbid it, Almighty. Others. As for me, give me liberty, or give me death.
25 seconds to curtain, folks.
Your favorite podcast is Critical Blast.
Ladies and gentlemen, hum to yourselves and think of baseball. The telepathic bunny is in the house.
Hello, hello, hello.
Oop, welcome to the show, man.
Hey.
I've known you for a while, and I've never had you on here to ask you what the heck's a telepathic bunny, and how did you become to be he?
Alrighty. The book that really changed my life when it comes to writing. Sometimes you have to separate the art from the artist. Okay, and this is a really good case of that. But the book is called Own Writing. It was Stephen King. And it's I would call the book almost like an operator's manual rather than a education book, because it takes it's like the difference between an engineer telling you how a machine works and a mechanic telling you how the machine works, because it's all nuts and bolts. Okay, and having it broke down to me that way was revolutionary for my writing. And the first thing that he does, he gives an example. Imagine a table in a dark room, and on that table is a red tablecloth, and on that red tablecloth is a cage, and in that cage is a white bunny rabbit, and he has a blue number 8 on his side. Okay, you got that image in your head.
I do now, yes.
I sent it to you. It's a form of telepathy. You have the same image that Stephen King created back when he wrote that book, and I just gave it to you. It's a form of telepathy, right? And so bunny, telepathic bunny, And,
okay, I get it, and I've read that book, and I did not hold that particular analogy in my head. Apparently,
yeah.
Probably read it again.
Also the my mascot's name is Cotton Top, and that's my brother's nickname, who passed away when he was 11 years old. We were inseparable, and if he was still alive, we would be doing this together. So in a way, having him be my mascot, you'll see on the lapel is his initials JMC, and the code is green because that was his favorite color. So I got it.
Well, maybe we'll see the telepathic bunny Cotton Top in some comic form in the future. I mean,
well, maybe. I've had several people tell me I need to do that as soon as possible. So
well, we have an active chat here tonight popping in to find out about Ironsides and the project that you're getting ready to launch here. Mike Walters is in the chat. Drop by to like, share, and say hi, and we always do appreciate that.
Hey.
Be sure to leave here when we're done at the top of the hour and go over to Mike's channel, the Mike Stand, where he will be giving the niche news of the night, everything in manga, anime, comics, and professional wrestling. Nicholas Gear in the house. Good to see you, man. Howdy.
In Soldier fame, yeah.
JR Exner is here saying hi to everybody. Woody's in the house. Always love when Woody pops in. Woody's a regular here at the old Critical Blast bar. Mr. Big himself, Wayne Klingman, is out here. Hello, Wayne.
Hello.
Captain Infinity, ahoy, sir. Glad that you're here. Anybody else new? Are they all talking to themselves now? Alice in Wonderland is being talked about here. Does the rabbit have a timepiece? I'm sure he does. He's got to hypnotize them with something. So yeah, let's talk. Let's talk about you.
Okay.
And your show, because you have a show on YouTube where you get into the mechanics of writing, not just comics, but writing in general. So the question is, what the hell gives you the authority to do that?
Well, what?
Why should we listen to you?
Well, That's a good question. I look at it this way: if I'm wrong, then you can jettison the information. But if I have a point, then you'll find it useful. And so I think I let people sort it out. Now I don't have a degree. I don't have like published works yet. I do have things in the pipe, but I don't have anything published yet. But people find my advice useful. I've consulted on a lot of scripts of books that are out there that are that have been very successful. So I think I have a certain expertise, and that's what I offer. So,
Frost Comic, you're allowed on here. Just let me know when you're ready to talk about some Frost Comics. We'll Photoshop in a beard.
There you go.
We can take care of that.
Yeah.
Who knows? By that time, I might have actually shaved this dust mop off my face. This is the longest I've ever grown this thing, and I'm basically like tired of it.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm leaving it here until my son gets to see it, so I can freak him out, and then I say, "Okay, I've done mission accomplished." I was like, I'll go to bed at night, and I'll like roll over. I'm like, "What's crawling?" Oh, that's me. That's me crawling on me. So I haven't quite gotten used to that yet.
No,
you live out in the country, you feel something walking on your chest. I've been bit by a scorpion once already in the past year, so I don't want that repeating.
Oh wow. Yeah, that's pretty heinous.
Oh, that hurt like the worst sting I've ever felt. And of course, my only other experience with scorpions is watching Indiana Jones movies, so I'm gonna die.
There you go.
And I'm looking them up. Apparently, they're these just tiny little striped bark scorpions. They're not deadly. They're not even sick poisonous. They just hurt.
Yeah.
they eat bugs.
That they do. Yeah. Yeah, those are pretty heinous. They get in everywhere. So I hear people live in those places. But
well, they eat termites is what their primary food source is. So when they were in the house, I told the landlord, I'm like, you might want to worry about that. And he took care of it.
Right.
Yeah, so you expound on writing in general, and you're putting your money where your mouth is, writing comics. You write other things too. We've talked about that. But what is it about comic books that when did you become a fan? When did you get hooked? What was your gateway drug?
My gateway drug was the cartoons and live action shows of the 70s, like Wonder Woman, Incredible Hulk, and some of the cartoons. I saw a lot of the they weren't exactly animated, but they were like the pages moved around,
Oh yeah.
I saw
the Marvel ones.
Yeah. Really cool music on them. So I saw the Thor, I saw the Captain America, Captain America throws his mighty shield. Yep. So
enemies who would oppose his shield must yield.
There you go. I remember seeing one of the Fantastic Four too. I remember that, but I don't know that might be a false memory. I don't know.
I think there was.
There was Incredible Hulk. There was Thor. There was Captain America for sure. But
Mike Walters is in the chat. That was his gateway to comics as well. So Mike, let us know. Was there a Fantastic Four cartoon in that block of what was published?
Right.
I know there were Fantastic Four cartoons later. With Herbie the Robot and
right.
God forbid kids try to set themselves on fire. We can't have a Human Torch.
They have a Johnny Storm, right? But I guess actually before that, my gateway was a children's Bible, the well-illustrated children's Bible.
That.
Yeah.
Yes. It was in every doctor's office in America.
Well, the one that influenced me was put out by Zundervan, I think, and it actually had hand painted illustrations, and these were like really, they did not pull any punches. I mean, these things were horrific. Okay, one of the creepiest panels I've ever seen. It was Witch of Endor, and they had like her cowering back, and King Saul like freaking out, and a ghostly Samuel standing in the middle of the table, and
yeah. And I remember asking my preacher about that. I'm like, okay, they can't contact the spirits of the dead. Right. She contacted Samuel. Well, she contacted a demon who impersonated Samuel. He gave the right advice.
Yeah. So that's a misnomer. That's the one that this people have trouble explaining. But plus it had like Samson collapsing the temple. That was one of them. Blinded Samson collapsing the temple, and you could tell he's not getting out of this one alive. So I'm like 5 years old maybe, and I was obsessed with this book. I mean, I read it. I was able to answer Bible questions that people like 4 times my age couldn't answer because I was so obsessed with that book. And so I think that later translated to comic book heroes, because it's the perfect marriage of writing and art.
Yeah.
And it's been around since cave paintings. Okay. I've often said that the cave paintings were the first superhero comics, because there's no way that that little stick figure with the little spear was going to take down something that size. Well,
there were a lot of little stick figures, but it takes the text and it takes the art, and it latches onto both sides of your brain and holds its attention while it communicates the message through telepathy.
And also it's our hero fiction. Yeah. It's Western society's hero fiction. Every society has its hero fiction, from Beowulf to Arthurian legend to Nancy tales, and every culture has its hero fiction, and that's essentially because becoming a man is an accomplishment for boys. And it's unique to boys that they basically have to achieve becoming a man, and so they have to have examples to follow. And for decades now, even with fathers falling out, young men have found their way to manhood by following these comic book characters, which
emulating heroes,
heroes.
Kids would emulate Hercules back in the day. That's what the stories were there for.
Exactly.
So it's really just 20th century mythology.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it is. It's what it is. I mean, it's always gotten painted as ephemeral or not very important, or that it's something like on the fringes of society. But the truth of the matter is that's at the heart of our society. The whole American ethos could be summed up in Captain America, Superman, Batman. That's like in our very DNA of America. And so when they start screwing with that, they start screwing with the very DNA of America. And when you mess with somebody's DNA, that's not a good thing.
Should it be allowed to die? I mean, there weren't that many Hercules stories. We know all of them because of that.
Right.
But Hercules wasn't trademarked and making the Roman storytellers great amounts of money.
Right.
And hey, they want to license Hercules to do something in the in the Colosseum here as a sort of a play. What'll that cost us?
Right. Well, I think that the reason why manga is so strong, why it's taken over, is because and bande dessinée in Europe also has this quality where it has definitive character arcs. There is a beginning to the character, there is a growth to the character, and there's an end to the character, and then they pass on the torch, and they reboot it with another character, and it just, there's a sense of legacy. There's a sense of you can even have mature characters that reach the end of their lifespan and pass it on, as a sense of continuity. Now in America comics, because the decision was made that Peter Parker can never be more than 20-ish, years old,
Yeah.
and the total time warp it is Marvel Comics. That's been lost somewhat, but they were telling stories. Occasionally, somebody would be killed off, and at one point they killed him off and they left him dead. But
But now nobody does.
Now nobody does that. No,
because all we got to do is we just got to find a multiverse where it's collapsing and save that one person. Say, hey, we're going to save you because we don't have one of you over here now. We need one of you.
Miles Morales. Hello. Anyway.
Yes. No. Miles Morales, Spider-Man.
Spider-Man.
Full name.
Right.
And sorry, he will never be Spider-Man as long as you have to keep saying Miles Morales in front of it.
Exactly. But the thing about it though is I think the impetus for what I've created happened the day I was at work, and I was checking my phone for comic book. I saw comic book news pop up, and I read the headline: Captain America says Hell Hydra, and immediately I got sick to my stomach because I knew this is the Rubicon. You can't come back from this. That's suicide. So I basically saw Marvel Comics commit suicide. That's basically what that was.
That could have been a good story. That could have been an event story where they're like, that when they did the Avengers in Camelot, this could have been Marvel's The Man in the High Castle. Somebody changed time, and this is where we're at. And you got to have your one person who realizes it to fix it. And it's not going to be Captain America because he's a Nazi now.
Right.
But they didn't run it that way.
The way that they did it, and they basically took him all the way back to his very fundamentals and say that he was fundamentally flawed at the first. They changed it to where he was fundamentally flawed at the first. That was the real disconnect, because then he wasn't influenced. That means that he never had that character. He never was that person. They retconned. When you retcon, you mess with all the history between where you are and where the change happened. And that's what they did.
Tried to flashpoint it.
They flashpointed it, right? And there's characters that are so integral to your universe that you just cannot do that. You can't. And if they did in DC, it'd be the same problem. You can't fundamentally alter Batman or Superman. And
who also used to be, according to Bob Rozakis in the Answer Man columns that I would always read, were always perpetually 29 years old. 29 years old, been working for 5 years as in their identities.
Right.
And I was fine with that. It was like it's comic book time. Don't worry about it. It's a sliding scale. But then Dick Grayson put on the Nightwing costume and a clock started ticking.
Yeah.
Because now there's a second Robin. Now there's a third Robin. Now there's a fourth Robin. Now there's a fifth Robin. Bruce ain't got the time to deal with these kids growing up and not be 20, older than 29 anymore.
Right.
They blew the time. Now they can freeze it now maybe and say, okay, you're gonna stay 35 for the next 20 years. But
well, I fixed that in my universe. I ran into that early on in my creation of my universe, and I found a way to fix it.
And there's a way for people to find out about that universe through the link below the video. Click on it, and it'll take you to the sign up. Keep your wallets in your pockets. Aaron, glad you're here, man.
Hey.
Don't have to spend no money tonight. Just get on the list to join the revolution. What are we looking at here?
All right. This is Ironsides having a very bad day. He's the fundamental character in my universe. He's the I believe they call them mules or donkeys. The character who carries the plot, kind of like everything centers pretty much around him. and at least in this first book. And he's essentially coming out of retirement after 50 years, being after the damage that was done to him, basically hurt his ability to regenerate, and so he became a mortal man. And but he still had the brain, he still had the mind, and so their solution, or at least the solution that they gave him, was you can continue working for the U.S. government and be an intelligence officer, and you can be right in the hub of intelligence, and because of your knowledge, and we'll let you basically still protect the United States, but you have to give up being a hero. And because his arm was pretty much translated into a kind of crystal, and it also caught his eye. And so, as far as he knew, he couldn't see out of that, or he was only seeing out of one eye, and he could only effectively use one hand. And so, for 50 years, he kind of like walked by muggings, walked by people breaking into storefronts and stuff like that, because they were always watching him, and he knew they were always watching him. And so because he was like trying to protect America in his head, he kind of made some concessions. And for 50 years, he stayed at that desk job, but slowly over time, he noticed he was erased from history books. He went from the person who the Continental Congress appointed to watch over the affairs of superheroes and act as a buffer between regular humans and superheroes. And he operated in that capacity for nearly 200 years. And so that's a significant character in history. And yet they kept getting relegated to footnote to footnote to smaller footnote to smaller footnote. Eventually, pretty much written out of the history books altogether. But he told himself that it didn't matter as long as he's protecting America. But then he noticed that his intelligence packages were getting older and older, and things that he suggested, things that he recommended, were not being followed and acted upon. And so he finally confronts his boss man, and a very epic scene, basically take his job and shove it scene. But it's in the comic. But basically, he finds out the day of, this is when he was ambushed and retired. But he finds out the day of, basically, that his arm moves when he he goes to finally intervene, because he no longer has that impetus to keep him from it.
He's been all those years not realizing he could move his arm.
All those years, he never fired it up once. He was basically depressed the whole time, and so he finds out his hand's moving, right, and so he intervenes in the situation. But still, he's there, and he's kind of like doesn't have a mission, and so he kind of like basically starts operating on the side. But meanwhile, the people behind everything are started to make their move, and he gets a visitation. Move up a little bit.
Sure.
Is it in there? Okay, no, the picture's not in there, but that middle group there, that batch, that's from federal organization that they created with the 28th Amendment to replace him, basically. And it's called the FERA, Federal Express Regulatory Agency. The expressors are the powered people. So, and they also had a super, like, I don't say hero, but an apparatus that was created the day he was ambushed, because he heard that this thing was being created, and that it was going to be the end of America if he didn't stop it. And it turned out to be a trap. But the being was created, and it's called Global Man. And so, it's supposedly operates, for the U.S. government. It's this being entirely made of metal, and so it's like our version of a Superman, but it's controlled by the U.S. government, so they think. Anyway,
no, he can't. If he was, he'd be called U.S. man, not global man.
Right.
Kind of tells me who's controlling him.
Well, that's the thing. All throughout this, there is an organization that Ironsides has been trying to find information on for years. He's kind of got wind of it, but he's never been able to find out anything about it. And he blames them for what happened to him. Well, he gets a visitation from somebody, basically telling him their next step is scroll down a little bit. But there's this group that's called Community Services Program. Powered people only have like 3 options after the 28th Amendment. They can either work for the state, they can be criminals, or they can completely live powerless. And
so they got no options, really.
They have no options, basically, yeah. But so somebody that's really fighting for this 3rd option or this 4th option, which is a way to help them, way they can work off their debt to society and be released from incarceration. It's called the Community Service Program. But somebody doesn't want that to go forward because they've been benefiting from having essentially a powered population under their thumb. And
unpaid workforce. I think we've done that once before.
Yeah, I think we have. And anyway,
didn't work out.
Yeah, right. And so they're going to do it with this public spectacle covered by the news agencies who already have they have everything loaded to go. And it's going to be saying, see, powered people are still dangerous. We can't have a 29th Amendment that's going to give them options. It's basically the same thing happened to pass the 28th Amendment. Everybody's just terrified. Ironsides is gone. What are we going to do? These powered people are running amok. So they hear, so the news was telling them. And so they voted for the 28th Amendment. And so there's enough backlog of people complaining and having a problem with it that they're pushing for a 29th Amendment. So suddenly these people are like, okay, we need some scapegoats, or we need to make a very public spectacle of how dangerous powered people are. And so basically this first thing this community service is supposed to do is supposed to clean up after a global man and another superpowered being called Obsidian Man had a big punch up, and it created this big crater that it's like this indention in near the docks, and they've codenamed that place Little Bighorn because people are going to go in and they're not going to come out. And so the guy that they basically ordered to design this thing turns out that he's somebody that Ironsides put into place a long time ago. Ironsides
agents.
Yeah, Ironsides didn't even remember doing it because he took the memories. He took his memory out of it, and but this guy's been a double agent all this time, and he's this close to getting close to that organization, to breaking that organization. He's got one more step to go, and he's got to basically kill the program that he's been pushing for, this community service. He's got to kill his mentor, he's got to kill the program, and he's got to kill his best friend, who's also going to be in the kill box. And the only way he can see out of it, and he creates this perfect kill box. He creates, there's no way out of this thing. It's a death trap. But then he remembers that there's one man who's like created accomplished miracles before, and he's supposed to kill this man. So he's going to have a face-to-face conversation with him. And so he basically tells Ironsides this is going to happen. And Ironsides, here he is. He's mortal. He's 50 years retired. He's still in good shape because of the because he's still a superpowered being.
Yeah.
But he's one of he's starting to break down. His body's starting to break down on him. He's lost his hair. He's aged, and he has his arm that he still is not entirely sure of the extent of the power of. He's still trying it out, basically.
So it's a new power on top of what he already had.
Yeah, exactly. It's a new power on top of what he had. And so he gets this opportunity to make an impact, because he can, and basically he takes it. He doesn't hesitate because he's a hero. That's what heroes do, right?
Yes.
So he's over the hill. He's out of practice. He's got a brand new power he's not even sure of. And he's basically walking into a kill box, an impossible situation. And that's Ironsides, that's Ironsides for you.
This particular pinup here is Ironsides with
America Bliss. Yeah.
American Bliss. Yes. So how did this come around, and how are people going to get their hands on it? Is this a buy one back one both kind of situations? And
this is actually it's no association with Genuine Comics. It's the cross. He had a cross world promotion, and I bought one of them, and and so while he's kind of mad because he'd already there you go. He's got a new one coming out too. And it's next, the one that's on Fund My Comic right now has another one. But I paid for it. But then when he saw it, Pal Rodriguez, his artist, drew this and gave it to me to do whatever I wanted to with. And so I had my colorist extraordinary. This is the
oh, look at that.
Yeah. But I had my colorist, who's Mika from Barbusco Studios. She happens to be one of the best, well-known, or at least well-kept secrets in CG. She happens to be the best colorist, I think, at least one of them. She's genius. And so she colored this. And then I showed it to Dave Brink, and Dave Brink's like, man, it's already gone to publication, but man, I wanted to use that. So, but I asked him for permission to use it. And so that the first 100 people to back the comic are going to get this print right here.
Well, I knew he had done something with the Embrace for Perfect 10. And he and Odin had done this, hey, you back this one and you back this one, and you'll get this crossover print since you backed both.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know if you were following up with some kind of opportunity like that for little 5x7 cards.
Well, I'd love to. America Bliss is a hell of a character. But I don't know. They look so well together. I may have to see if Dave will write something with me.
It's like Leonardo DiCaprio and whoever his latest date is.
Right. Well, see, I have a
old man and young chick.
There you go. This is the one color cover I've got done so far, but I've got 2 of them in the works right now. I'll show you one, the other one. But
so is the name of the book Ironsides, or is the name of the book Community Service?
Oh, the name of the book is Community Service. This is Community Service, book 1 of the arc of Little Bighorn arc. There's going to be 3 books in the arc. Preambles, articles, and amendments.
Those words seem to go together like peanut butter and jelly.
Yeah, they seem to. If you look in the back of the campaign there, look at what my wallpaper is.
Oh, duh! It's sitting there staring me in the face the whole time here. Look at those letters.
Right. I lean into the iconography. This is the Uncle Sam poster.
Yeah. Oh, definitely is that.
Yeah.
The whole wants you kind of thing.
Right. So this is the Uncle Sam recruitment cover. It's going to be an homage It's done by Greg Bo Watson. He's a really
good.
famous pin-up artist.
Yeah.
And he struggled for 9 months to do this one because he's cheesecake. He can do them all day. What you ask him to do, you ask him to do beefcake, and it's like asking an engine to run on kerosene.
I was going to say, it's like, he's still kind of boobular, but it's just because you just can't
those are
turn that
pectoral
off.
muscles. Those are pectoral
muscles. Yes.
Yeah.
And folks, this is where you put your email address in. We told you about this. Then join the revolution. You will get notified on launch. Anything else comes from signing up? Some sort of hey, if you signed up, special.
Well, I'm going to start sending out like updates on the campaigns. Every week in June before the launch in July, and there's a short story that I'm doing 500 words per update, and you'll get a copy of that. But it's also going to be one of the stories in what's called the FERE files. I'm collecting like a lot of information, a lot of stuff about the world, a lot of like ancillary details. And I'm going to put them in basically a manila folder file with a print, the seal on it, the FERE seal. And it's going to come with the package, basically. And depending on how many stretch goals I get is how much information is going to be in that package. But it's going to have, at the very minimum, it's going to have 4 short stories, world building information, some technical details about the universe, and some character bios.
And this is going to launch on July the 1st.
Yeah.
So 1 month from today on fundmycomic.com.
And by the way, that's linked directly to the website. So you can click on that and you'll go right directly there.
Very, very nice.
Yeah.
I won't do it right now because we all know what it looks like. And if you don't know what it looks like, you should, folks. You should be checking out fundmycomic.com. A lot of things happening there. A lot of comics are getting funded right now.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Slowly getting more and more success.
Well, this is all part of a world. So this is not just the one comic arc. This is a world that I plan on building, and so this first arc is basically the people he's going in there to save are criminals. They're not nice people. Okay, they're kind of selfish. They're kind of self-centered. Some of them are they're situationally against because of circumstances. Some are not. So essentially, not only is he also that's some art that's going to come with the campaign is these 2 prints right here. Okay, these are both done by Anthony Figueroa. Okay,
I know him. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, that was very nice.
This is his version of Ironsides. Looks a lot like his Justice City. But he did a real great job with that. I really like it. And this is a young lady. She's not a lot in the first book, but she's going to be the heart of the series, basically. She is an SJW senator's daughter.
Okay.
And her power is she can either enhance your ability or she can cancel it, but she can't control which. So
she's a chaos roll.
She is a chaos roll. Her name is Switch, okay? And she is a hoot to write. I mean, total hoot to write. Because she's self-centered to an extraordinary extent, complete narcissist. But when she's not paying attention, when she's acting instinctually, she's heroic. And there's a reason for that. But, hey, Immortal. Mortal Rising.
Let's see it. And of course, I'll remind everybody again, top of the hour as we wrap up, pop over to the mic stand. Link is right there in the chat.
There you go.
Catch up on the news. Give them a like and a follow.
I need to
on that every night.
Yeah, I need to go on his some of his reenactments of comics.
Those are a hoot. Yes.
Yeah, I need to do
get
that.
in there and
right.
Tell him you want to read. See,
well,
because that's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I've been trying to remind myself to get over there. I work. You know, I'm at work. I'll be leaving here in about an hour and a half and going straight to work. So, I'll be working all night. But essentially, you know, what I wanted to put back into culture is like what we were talking about earlier. Is first of all, we need older, mature characters back into comics. Okay. Old grizzled veterans. We need our Cables. We need, you know, our Professor X's to be heroic. You know, it'll be people that stand in the gap. Secondly, we need characters that have moral code that they live by. And this gentleman right here could go into retirement. He could fade off into the sunset. Nobody even knows he's around. Nobody knows he exists. But you know, he gets the opportunity to basically spit in the eye of the people who did that to him, and he's going to take it. You know,
you mentioned that, you know, all the other superpowered people are basically in prison, and that gives me a whole Kingdom Come Gulag kind of feel.
Yeah.
Was there any influence from there?
Yeah, there's some. I guess subconsciously I may have been thinking about that. The facility is called the Tower, but it's not necessarily a tower. It's just a big prison facility. It's designed to, suppress powers and things like that. And basically, you know, that's your three options. You know, you live life of silent desperation as an ordinary human. Which is hard to do because if you're a powered person, you have something called a maintenance protocol that in your body, and depending on how powerful a expressor you are, depends on how long you live. Okay, like Ironsides has a best friend who used to be considered a Greek god. So,
like from ancient Greece.
Yeah. Yeah, he was part of the pantheon. He was one of Poseidon's many sons. But he goes by Killhauler now. But so you have people that live like centuries, and Ironsides himself was very good shape up till, you know, the crystal kind of interfered with his maintenance protocol. Yeah, let me show you something right quick, if you don't mind.
Share some screen.
All right.
Oh, that beautiful bean footage.
Okay. All right. So this is the poster you saw, right?
Yeah.
Let me right back to here so I can find it. All right. So also included. I haven't yet decided how I'm going to do this, but this right here is a this is instead of going with cheesecake, I decided to go beefcake, you know.
Yeah, it's the swimsuit special pinup.
There you go. But I decided if I'm going to exploit, you know, you're supposed to exploit your characters, right? And you know,
of course.
But
they're yours. Use
there you
them,
go. There you go. I'm actually going to do the ladies later, so don't worry. But
Woody, I'm right there with you. The minute I saw the character, first thing I thought of was old Raymond Burr in a wheelchair.
Right.
In fact, I think I threw that into a GIF on your first tweet about it.
Right. Yeah. This is him. This is kind of like a joke or anything. But
well, you know, but before Perry Mason, of course, Woody, the Ironsides referred to a battleship, which I believe was actually the Constitution.
Yeah, it was. Actually,
which brings it all back around to what he represents.
Right. But let me tell you the story. How he got his name is Ironsides. Okay. Back when this is like a picture of him as a young man. But back when he was
like Fred McMurray.
It's actually young Sean Connery.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. But
Fred McMurray, by the way, was the model for Captain Marvel.
Captain Marvel, right? Yeah. But he fought in the War of 1812 with Killholler was actually a privateer captain, right? And Ironsides, he just met Ironsides. He wasn't sure of his capabilities yet, and he didn't know that Ironsides had a reputation. He was called the Cast Iron Constitutional, or Cast Iron Continental, Cast Iron Continental, because the Army of America was called the Continentals, and he was thought to be bulletproof, so they called him the Cast Iron Continental, right? Well, Killholler hated that name from the start, right? So so they're taking on cannonballs are incoming, and Ironsides is actually standing on the bulwark, and Killholler said, "Who do you think you are, Ironsides? Get down!" And so he started calling him Ironsides, and the name stuck. But he meant the Constitution, which was active in the War of 1812.
Yeah.
And so that's how he got the name Ironsides. But up to that point, but up to that point, they called him the Cast Iron Constitution, Continental. So,
Yeah. Yes, Woody, that's absolutely true. And if you want to see some validation of that, look up any Alex Ross painting of Captain Marvel. He will show you the work behind it.
It had the finger curls and everything, right? But so that's basically that's what I'm doing with the characters. Just I mean, everything's gonna be kind of like centered around him, and so he's my focus. And I think he's a hell of a character. I think he's got a hell of a thing, hell of a cool, thing about his apparatus there, the arm.
We need a patriotic character who's about patriotism. I mean, Captain America, I was never into Captain America because I grew up during a time when we weren't at war. And, Captain America is a propaganda piece. He works best when we're at war. Marvel should have sold the shit out of that after 9/11.
Absolutely.
They didn't.
Absolutely.
They didn't take advantage of him as a propaganda arm.
What killed me was right before he said Hell Hydra, Captain America Winter Soldier had come out, and it was the best Marvel movie up to that point. I mean, still is, to my opinion. But I mean, it's got the one glaring hole in the middle, but that's the only
if
major
Marvel
flaw.
movies coming out about a character, guaranteed Marvel's going to say, we got a movie coming out about this character.
Right.
How can we screw it up so that we don't sell any comic books?
Right, exactly.
And Mike Tierney's
well,
been on our
people
show
were
on
wearing
LCS.
they were wearing those shield shirts everywhere.
Yeah.
He had made it into the zeitgeist. He was the symbology was actually rivaling Batman at that moment. And he was like writing, the whole Trump thing had happened, and people were feeling good about America again, and he just and they couldn't have that. They just could not have that.
Mike Tierney comes on and talks about it on the LCS Guys show. He's like, he had people come into the store wanting to buy the comics because of the movies. Like, I'm going to get Captain America. Well, okay, but he's a Nazi right now, so you might get confused. What? Oh, yeah, give a Thor. Okay, well, Thor's somewhere else. There's a woman who's Thor now.
There's a woman at Thor now, yeah.
What about Iron Man? Well, he's dead.
He's dead. There's this chick, though.
Strange, they killed him.
There's this chick, though,
I know, but they're doing the movie now for Ms. Marvel. What'd they do? They just killed her.
They just killed her off, yeah.
The one time they could finally get some mileage out of that character, they kill her off before a movie comes out.
Well,
so nobody's safe.
But I mean, the Winter Soldier was such an incredible good character. And you could see in Captain America, Falcon Winter Soldier, you could see if they wrote it the way it was headed. But you could see about episode 4 when they completely, foobarred the whole thing. But 3 episodes you saw were Bucky needed a redemption arc, and he's this incredible character. He needed to stop being Winter Soldier. He needed to start being something else. Falcon didn't want the shield, didn't want anything to do with the shield, and but he was given that shield for some reason by Captain America, and so you could see where him giving the shield to Bucky, which was what happened in the comics, was Bucky.
That would have been legacy. Yeah.
It would have been legacy. And Bucky would have had that identity. You could have introduced the black Captain America suit, which was awesome. I love the suit. And then you could have Falcon finally established. He's finally established that, okay, I'm not somebody's sidekick. I'm a hero in my own right.
Yeah, exactly.
He would have been like
his place in the Marvel universe, movie wise, the cinematic universe was
secure. It was
shoehorned.
Yeah,
it was like, hey, I used to fly these things in the Army, and they let me take a prototype home because that's what the Army does. They give you their inventions. Hey, you're gonna fly this thing. Why don't you have one? I was like, what?
Well,
Really?
well, they actually had to break into a military base, remember, to grab it. That's part of the plot.
But they let him keep it. Well, you're gonna do hero things with it.
Well,
Fine.
right. Okay. Well, I mean, the Avengers are pretty much giving carte blanche anyway. That's why the whole entire Civil War thing happened. Anyway.
Nobody else flew these things. We didn't have a whole troop of men who were trained on this. It's just you. You.
Well, there was one left. But anyway.
Of course. And Cap's going to give it to the guy who he lapped 4 times running around the pool.
Yeah, but he trusted him, and so and they didn't exactly have a lot of superheroes at that time, so didn't
have many to pick from. I get it.
There you go. But yeah, the thing about it is though is I just I wanted to like put that back into culture somehow, maybe light a little candle, and he remembers the country at its founding. He has that memory. He was a Irish immigrant that came in as a manservant. He was like press ganged into to service and brought to the colonies. And
he'd be a great person to have dialogue there, where it's like, this is what it doesn't mean that you can do this. This is like, no, that's exactly what they meant. I was there.
Exactly. About that whole slavery thing being just a black thing. Let's
that too. Let me tell you something about that.
Well,
all right.
It's just I just wanted to put that back in society somewhere, and I'm hoping that once this first book comes out and people get an idea of the scope of my universe, that they'll want to come back and visit.
How much of the first book do you have ready to go? I mean, we're going to launch in July, 1st of July. 2 months to run.
Well, right now I'm 3/4 of the way into the first book being done.
Okay.
But I'm actually doing the true crowdfunding thing, and I do need the money to finish production. Yeah. And so that's what I'm hoping to get enough to finish the production. And so I'm pretty close to being done with it. So right now I'm putting together the merch packages, and I'm about to I'll probably have the campaign up, because FMC, you can put the campaign up and then schedule it, and so people can actually see legitimately see the campaign before.
Oh yeah.
And so that's
a nice thing about it.
Yeah, it's a really cool feature. So I'm working on that currently, and I should have it up at least by the middle of June, so people can take a look. Right now, I'm hoping to get to 100 signups so I can launch on Bancroft. What's that?
Right down there, folks. Sign up. Right
there you
go. Put the link. Put in your email address.
Right.
Even if you have no interest at all, let him get to 100. Come on.
There you go. There you go. But there will be.
Change your mind later.
But there is going to be a good short story that's going to come out with updates. It'll be one of the short stories included with the FERA files. and you'll get to see it first.
It's too bad you couldn't come up with an L word to end that, because a group called Feral would just be like super comic booky.
Yeah. Well, I like the idea that you could take the last two letters and switch them, and you have
Yes,
fear.
you could. Yeah.
Yeah.
And, it sounds like a real government agency this way now. FDFERA, like FEMA. Fear us.
Right. But yeah, it's they basically they all have like a dark blue uniform or dark purple uniforms with just black in the night, and they're basically they operate almost like Stasi, but they call them the Purple People Eaters because they take somebody away, you're not going to see them again.
Yep.
And but yeah, and so if you see on the Uncle Sam poster, there's actually like graffiti that are actually Easter eggs for things that are in the book, and so there's a couple Easter eggs that are just right there in plain sight that people, yeah. Like
you get they're blocking the sun.
Yeah.
Do you hear the white noise? So a white noise is perfect for covering up subliminal information.
Yeah, or a supervillain.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
He was probably one of the scariest things I've ever written. So
I see a couple of different signatures on here, not just Greg Bowes.
Yep. Mika did the coloring and the digitization of the arm and the eye came from Xevious. He also did the lettering.
Very cool. So this is a group effort here.
Yeah, there's 3 people in there. Yeah.
All right. Well, Immortal Rising. Thank you, sir. Immortal Rising has signed up.
Appreciate it, gentlemen. Appreciate it.
One.
I'm gonna resend the first one out tomorrow because there are not many people opened it up. So I'm going to rejigger it and send it out once again. So nobody's gonna, for the people that signed up, they'll get the first time. And evidently people haven't opened it up, so they didn't see it, the first one. So it's not.
Everybody share this out so that people can get an idea of what's going to be coming their way. And say, hey, I signed up for this. You might want to take a look at it too.
There you go. There you go. I appreciate it.
Idea of page count and how much before we leave?
I'm looking at 30 to 32 pages.
Okay, so a thick floppy.
Yeah. It's going to be a little more than a floppy. But it's going to have a lot of art in it. A lot of it's one of the variants is going to be look a lot like a Saturday Evening Post.
Oh, that's perfect.
Yeah. I'm having the art worked on right now for that. But yeah, it's going to look like kind of like a Saturday Evening Post. I got one variant. I have to show this. If you give me just a second, bring it up.
Sure. Take your time. I got nowhere to go.
All right. I know exactly where it's at. Let me get a hold of it. All right. Bring it up. But I've got a wraparound cover that was done for me by Luke Stone Studios, and he it's going to everything I do is going to have like a patriotic kind of emphasis to it. So if you add that, so this is going to be the wraparound cover. This is all right. Hold on. I zoomed in too much. Big. Yeah. Okay. This is going to be the Freedom 5 is Ironside's first group. They're in the comic, at least tangentially, but this is the planting of the flag of Iwo Jima, and this is the Freedom 5. So this is like yeah. So this is going to be one of the cover B, the wraparound cover. It's going to be this one. So it's going to have that, and it's going to have this flag wrapping around the back.
That's Gonna look beautiful. Hey, Jim, welcome aboard. We're just getting ready to sign off here, but no money changing hands tonight. Feel free to sign up on the mailing list so you can find out when Ironsides community service launches, starring Ironsides. It's gonna be a heck of a book.
Yeah, I certainly hope so. This is my lifelong goal. Something I've dreamed about most of my life. So fingers crossed.
Christian, hello and goodbye. You're coming in on the tail end here, but we do appreciate it. Rewind it. Just grab the little bar at the bottom. It's right there. Just drag it all the way over here and then just let it go and just watch again. And then, click the link below to go to the sign up page. No money. Just put your email address in there and says, tell me more when this comes out. I want to learn more about this book.
All right.
Yep. July 1st, folks. Koepp, thanks for coming on, man. It's been a lot of fun talking with you here.
Sure. No problem, man.
And finding out about your book. I've seen the artwork, but I have not heard you go into detail all about it. So I feel like, Bill Cosby at the end of a Fat Albert episode, you might learn something before you're done.
There you go. And
I did. Everybody in the chat, thank you for being here. We don't have a show without you. We're just a podcast falling in the woods otherwise. So we're always glad that you're here to watch me and to learn about our guests. And of course, while you were here, as always, we just hope you had a blast. Good night.